Right now on Full Custom Garage. Master metalman Ian Roussel gets the call to take on a far-out trike from the 70s.
I see this as real potential. He's trying to get rid of some junk, and I'm going to show him the real deal.
But this project has its own baggage.
Because I don't like trikes too much. It was just garbage, basically, that I had sitting in my backyard for I don't know how long. If anybody could change my mind, you could.
This is an ugly kit, so I'm just going to cut it apart and make something that I like.
Then on his search for parts, Ian runs into a three-wheel guru.
Everything was here. It was like an exploded view of a trike. Like 10 trikes exploded all over his shop.
You do it up the way I know you can, it'll look great.
And with the project on the line, Ian's got to get down and make it happen.
I should have known.
At my friend Kai's house, he's a total motorcycle fanatic. Says he's got some project that I might be interested in. I've been friends with Kai for almost 15 years. He's been an editor for Easy Riders forever, so I know he's got some treasure in his garage.
I said, well, come on by and I'll show it to you. I'm amazed I hadn't shown it to him all these years.
See some Harleys and stuff.
Well, it has its own special place of honor.
Huh. So I'm thinking I'm gonna walk in and go into his garage, check out some cool bikes. He makes me take a hard right turn around the camper into the back 40, and he's got something old from the 70s. All right. Looks like a piece of a Volkswagen.
Yeah. And that's pretty much all I got.
This is like a raw piece of steel. It's definitely part of a Volkswagen. It's got some weird frame attached to it. The framework was pretty rough, but what he had there was a great looking, old school fiberglass trike. Kai is a hardcore motorcycle guy. He's all about the two wheels, and that's why this trike was on the side.
There was this one deal, the guy had all kinds of junk lying around and he wanted to get rid of this trike, but he just tossed it in with whatever bike I had bought at the time, and I didn't really want it because I don't like trikes too much. Like I said, I don't know anything about it. This is not my thing, you know, so.
I'm glad it's not yours, because I feel pretty comfortable here.
Okay.
Look, it's made for me, man. It's ideal. Right, Hound? I see this as real potential. I think I'm gonna try to prove something to him. He's trying to get rid of some junk, and I'm gonna show him the real deal.
Well, yeah, take it. Get it the hell out of here, man.
Very cool, man. I will. What else do you have, though? Let me see.
All right.
I'm sure you've got an engine or something in there, right?
Probably thought there was more to it than what I had. I didn't have an engine. I didn't have a transmission. I didn't have a front end.
Well, you got the handlebars,
Right.
wiring harness.
Yep.
It's like a foot peg. What he claimed was a trike is actually 2 pieces and a little box, so it's a total basket case. This was definitely a kit. You could see the way that all these things are made. This isn't a homemade jobber, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
But they use all the Volkswagen parts mechanically.
I don't have a lot of faith in this project at all, to tell you the truth. This thing would probably sit in my corner there another 20 years if it weren't for Ian.
Yeah, I mean, it's a start. I bet I could do something with this.
Okay.
Wait, give me a couple weeks. You'll see where I'm going.
One of the things that really impressed me about Ian was one of his early videos where he used the steel cap from his boot and put it on as sort of like an air scope on the fender of the car that he had just built. That was like the final touch. And it was just so perfect, you know? I mean, how much more inventive and creative can you get?
Well, it's a great starting point, man. I'll definitely do it up.
You're most welcome to it.
I think I'm gonna change your mind about trikes when you see this.
Well, if anybody could change my mind, you could.
All right, man. I'm gonna make it happen.
Okay.
Whoa! Watch your face. Coming in. All right. Wait a second. This frame is totally bent. That's why it was laying in the backyard. It's almost like forensic science. You know, you get the body parts to the lab and you assess them, and this thing was bent. This thing got crashed, and that's why it was disassembled, I'm sure of it. It's kind of a bummer that this thing is bent. I was hoping to just like style up the body and reassemble it, but this frame is toast. I'm gonna have to build a whole new one.
It's a long walk back from Kai's. Lots of east.
It was just a burning question why this thing was disassembled and thrown in the backyard. That's the telltale right there. Somebody crashed it. But it's all about this fiberglass body. That's the thing. I don't know what those people were thinking back in the 70s, because this is a pretty wacky ride, all in all. But that's what I like about it. It's weird. Standing on their own, the front is one look and the rear is another look. You got this really cool, almost like a waterfall setup with multiple levels here. And then it goes right back to this strange faceted cubist thing. So it's two different styles completely. It's just gonna be a couple little changes. The first being I'm just gonna rebuild the whole motorcycle. This is an ugly kit. I've never made any claim that these were good-looking bikes, you know? So I'm just gonna cut it apart and make something that I like. I've never built one of these. I've wanted to since I was 15 years old. You know, this is like one of those must-do things. I was actually getting some flack from a couple friends because they said, oh, you said you'd never build the same thing twice. But I built another trike. It's a forward engine. The axle's behind it. It was a motorcycle engine. This is a completely different take on a three-wheel vehicle. It's like saying I already built a car before because it has 4 tires. Mechanically, it's all Volkswagen. I'm gonna need a motorcycle front rim and front forks. And I have ideas about all of it. It's just a matter of getting this frame figured out. Yeah, it's just small. I didn't realize they were this small. Or maybe I didn't realize I was this big. You see pictures of guys on them and they just look like, yeah, you know. But my legs are almost as long as the thing. So the handlebars are right here. It's like a little mini bike. I want my arms like this. Well, fortunately, the frame is trash. So all I gotta do is cut the frame off and I'll just make a new frame. Pretty simple. Yeah, let's get to it. I thought there was something too heavy with this whole chassis. They filled this with lead to weight it down, I'm sure. I'm not gonna fill my frame with lead. I gotta come up with something better. So that means you need some weight on the front. I think I'm gonna have to build a very heavy chassis, which is cool. I'll make a cool tube chassis and just try to keep the weight as forward as possible, probably with an 8-inch stretch from where it was. So I'm just gonna cut this fiberglass body in half again, set the back on, and just see where the nose ends up. I'll put it 8 inches away from where it was and see how it looks. We're gonna do a little milk crate mock-up. Hey, look, this has been done by all the great builders throughout time. See, now there's a little more room. Handlebars here. It'll be easy to do. It'll also help a little more weight, more forward. Center of gravity, etc. I'm gonna be stuck on this frame if I don't have the proper fork dimensions. The tire diameter is very critical, and then of course all the pieces that hold that stuff in place. A word on the street is that this guy Rich up north, he has all the trike stuff. He might have all the parts I need. Up here in Fraser Park, California, I was referred to this fella Rich from a friend of mine. Apparently he's the go-to guy for trikes.
I didn't get into trikes in 1984. I thought riding trikes, that's for sissies. You know, that's for people that can't hold up bikes. And at that time, I was still riding the big Harleys and the Gold Wings. I went out and bought a brand new Gold Wing, but I ended up 10 years later making it into a trike.
Walking into Rich's place, I see these 2 trikes. I mean, they're nice. They look like they're from the 70s. It's pretty cool stuff. Whoa, what's with the frame on this? This is crazy.
Everything is hand-built.
The frame is what I was thinking about designing. This guy's obviously done this before. He knows this stuff. He's taken the VW engine and transaxle and made a custom suspension in the rear, which I think is really trick.
When he called, I didn't know if the things that I had would meet his expectations because I know he's a good builder.
He had seen the Honda Goldwing trike that I built, which was pretty unique. It was a very simple design, and he was digging it.
I liked the trike he built because of the way he built it, not because he built the trike.
Well, I know you said you had a couple projects. I was really seeing if you had some forks or a front rim, because that's kind of...
Yeah, well, we can go back there and take a look and see what we have.
All right,
maybe there's something that'll help you out with yours.
Yeah, for sure. I see the first trike out in his yard, and it just looks like we might be in junk zone. But you get into his workshop, and you see he is a full-on machinist. He's making gearboxes, he's making engine couplers, all kinds of really cool stuff. So really, everything was here. It was like 10 trikes exploded all over his shop. You see this big fiberglass shape. I know exactly what it is. I've already got one. It's a different body style than the one I have, but seeing it without the body on really helped out. The trike chassis is sitting here in the corner, so it really gives me a good idea of what they look like when they're fully assembled. I was able to really check out the mechanical linkages on how to make it shift, the throttle, the brakes, that type of thing. We were speaking the same language, but we're coming from opposite sides of the spectrum. And he's coming from the machining and engineering standpoint, and I know the fabrication, you know? I got an artistic view, and it's just cool. This is the kind of guy I need in my stable. What's with this keg?
Oh, you want that beer keg? You have to bring one full of beer, though, for it, and then help me drink it.
This is the old school thing, man. You put it right here. That's the deal. This guy is the real deal. He's been in it. He knows the people.
Believe it or not, I had a stack of napkins. Ed Roth had diagrammed on there, and they came up, and Richard Pye was going to build them. Ed Roth was going to design them and promote them for Benihana, and what they were going to be delivery trucks. But what they were going to do is do a single seater, and it was going to have an oven on the back to keep the deliveries hot. And the whole top of the trike was going to be a Chinese hat. And they were going to use just regular motorcycle front ends, and he had the idea how to strengthen them. And I wish I had those here to show you because they're unreal, some of the things. And that's where I came up with a lot of the ideas I have here of how they should be if they're into a little trike.
My fiberglass body is like a big shell that comes out, so the Springer stuff would be lost in there.
Hold on just a second, let me see something.
This guy's got everything I need. It's really just like, hey, will this work? Will that work? You know, he's been doing this since before I was born, which is pretty cool. So that's the thing. Right now, this is like school. This is the big theory session. He knows what works, and I got to figure out how to make it. He goes back into the shed and pulls out this old Springer fork that's all disassembled, a bunch of shocks, you know, and starts talking theory. You know, he's got some ideas about the angle of these rocker arms that hold the tire, etc. And I think I'm gonna build them. I think it would really be a good nod of respect to build this guy's design.
If you do it up the way I know you can, it'll look bitchin'.
He just gave them to me. That's pretty cool.
Okay.
That's perfect, man.
Sweet.
The advice is much needed.
Yeah. I've had a good day with him here. I've learned a lot from him.
This is perfect. This is exactly what I needed. I had a couple questions, he answered them, so it's like on.
He doesn't never have to be a triker, but he'll build something that appeals to people, and that's what counts.
Well, one thing Rich told me about was the rake of the fork, you know, the inclination of the fork tubes. He's talking about his headset being at 58 degrees, so that's where I'm really starting off the whole thing. I set up this jig here. All this is gonna do is put that same diameter tube at a 58-degree inclination. I don't know what that means technically, but that's what the old man told me to do. He's been doing trikes for years, so I'm not gonna reinvent anything. For lack of a better term, this is more of a traditional build. You know, these trikes were happening in the 70s as kits. So just like the hot rodders were all building their cars for the purpose of speed, these things were all built with some kind of weird style in mind. And that's all I'm trying to do with this. So the only thing that's going to determine the arc in these tubes is the shape of the fiberglass body. I'm going to use 1.5 inch DOM. It's 1/8 wall tube. It's roll cage stuff. And I'm going to come forward with 4 tubes, almost like a truss. They're going to come forward and curve up below the fiberglass body. The old frame was a really basic shape. It was a rectangle tube with a gusset in it, and no wonder it bent. My challenge is to create a metal structure that's cool looking and super strong. Now I'm gonna try to one-up this design by making it look a little cooler and way stronger. I'm gonna use 1.5 inch round tube, DOM, it's roll cage material. I'm gonna curve it so that it follows a nice graceful arc, just like the neck of this fiberglass body. And I'm gonna make 4 tubes, kind of like a teepee on its side that goes right up to the headset. Massive curved tube steel structure. Just to fit these up real quick, I'm gonna tack it in place. You could build this thing out of a giant piece of I-beam, and it would be incredibly strong. It is form over function, I think. I want it to look cool, but incorporating a great strength factor in it. That's why using these 4 tubes, it's a pretty delicate, graceful looking design, but it's super strong. It's like the works of nature, you know? You look at your skeleton, it's a pretty cool thing without the skin, you know? Everything should follow suit, right? So even though this is underneath this fiberglass body, it should still be something cool looking. So your forks are pivoting on the center arc, so they won't steer very far. See that? So that's there, you only have that much steering. So I gotta bring them in. Well, now it'll steer, see? Before, the tubes are so wide that these things wouldn't turn, but now it's fine. This piece is gonna get cut back out. My whole concept is just fitting these tubes up to it. That's why I'm only gonna spot weld everything. I'm gonna make 2 more lower tubes the same way as I did the upper ones. Put it through the roller, trim them back. That's next. I'm building my own custom thing, and that's really what it's about. You know, everybody's got their idea. I see pieces of this machine that I don't like, so they're going away. No regrets. I think I'm just gonna come vertically with 2 round tubes and just some kind of an angle iron straight across. That's the whole deal. It pops right back on like it used to. The thing is, you need all the stuff. You know, I got a good start on it, but you can't commit to anything design-wise until you have all the other elements. So I still got to get rear tires, an engine, and transaxle. We're at the Pomona Swap Meet, the granddaddy of them all. If you need it, it's here. There's a couple things that I'm looking for. I haven't been able to find them online. All I have to do is walk 5,000 miles today and pick up what I need. Pomona Swap Meet is such a blowout. It's still the biggest swap meet I've ever seen. I mean, it has everything you could ever want. I'm seeing exactly what I expected, 10 billion parts. There's a huge resource of Volkswagen stuff. There's rims and tires all over the place. It's just a matter of picking what I want. Perfect case scenario is a low-priced Volkswagen engine. You know, it's just got to be a runner. If it needs some work, that's fine, but I'm not looking to spend a fortune. Hey, what do you want to get for this engine?
What do you need it for?
It's for this crazy Volkswagen project. Sure enough, this guy is a regular at the swap meet. He's into VWs, and he's got an engine here. It's a 1600 single port, and he's right in my price range. He's asking for $650 for it, and I guess it's all good used parts. I'll do 6 1/4. That sounds fair. but you gotta give me the cart with it, because I'm not carrying it home.
The cart goes with it.
All right, cool. I'm on a good roll. If I can find a set of tires and a couple rims, my day's done. It's early. I'd like to get out of the sun before it gets too hot. It's exactly what I'm looking for. 29 by 15, 50 by 15s. Those will look perfect. Score. On to the next. There's this guy who's at every Pomona swap meet. He specializes in vintage rims. So sure enough, he's here. These are typical 1970s slotted mag rims. You see them on every kind of vehicle done in the 70s for sure. Here we go. I didn't come out here for recreation, you know? I'm on a shopping mission. So I got the engine, I got the tires, the rims. I'm feeling pretty good about it. The transaxle is kind of a touchy thing. They're expensive for good ones, so I'm gonna talk to my friends, see if I can't just get a used one that'll work. Been drilling all kinds of pieces of metal. All I got from Rich was this fork set, these 2 shocks, and the front tire. So I need to get bolts, bearings, bushings, metal plates, lock washers, the whole deal. The big challenge is to make this whole assembly look good and operate properly. And it's really custom tailored for this bike. Rich's whole take on this front fork was that the Springer forks would be lost up in this big fiberglass body. You wouldn't see them. So he said put the springs down low, you'll see the whole setup right next to the rim. He thought it was a perfect complement for this fiberglass nose, and I agree. This is what I was expecting with the trike. There's a lot of mechanical stuff that is pretty important, like the alignment of the front tire, the function of the springs on the forks, the pivoting of all the controls. If the forks fail, you fail. Especially if the controls fail, it's trouble. What I'm thinking is if we set this at 58 degrees, like you recommended, then we should be able to just tack weld this stuff in place. Setting up the rake is very important because the old dude says that's what's up. So I'm paying a lot of attention to make sure that it's to his specs. Pretty sneaky. This is all the gear for the headset. Yesterday at the machine shop, we blueprinted this pretty much and set up these holes so that they match what the existing lower bracket has. So just for simplicity, I'm gonna commit to this. See, I bored that center out yesterday, so a 1-inch will fit right through there. For me, the first step is this upper plate. See how it'll go on here? That, and then the bolts will go inside like that. See, that's the setup. But I don't want a big plate on top of the forks. That looks funny. So I don't think I need to tell you that. I'm gonna trace out a shape around these bolts, trim this plate back, and then trim the fork legs. So you may be asking yourself, did he just cut that with a wood saw? Yeah, it's a carbide tipped saw you would use for wood. They go through aluminum. It's not the most optimal thing to cut aluminum with. You'll see it loaded up a little bit on the tips, but with a brand new blade, it goes pretty quick. That's 5/8 aluminum. I'm gonna put these in place just to hold them. I'm gonna weld the sides in first, and I can take the plate off and weld the top. Goes through there. Followed the old dude's lead, and you know, he's done this before. All I had to do, make it my own. My job is done. 58 degrees to freedom. It's gonna be awesome. Need a VW transaxle. Don says, hey man, I got something. It used to work. It's been sitting for years and I don't want it. So no matter what condition, if he says that it's gonna turn all the gears, then I'm cool with it. It is ugly, but I got some degreaser and a seal kit. I'll make it happen. Just thinking about what these tires are gonna look like on here, you know? I'm all about putting this thing together right now. This is the look I wanted, you know? 70s slotted mags, Mickey Thompson Sportsman tires. That's the look, man. This is a 70s machine. Took about a foot out of the fork legs. Spur of the moment decision. It caught my eye. I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was just too long. But these handlebars are too small. They came out of that hole like that, so the forks are in the right spot. But see, they just look a little too dinky. I'm thinking about like a tube straight across this way and then 2 arches going right down into the headset. So I feel like the whole flavor of this bike is just gonna be curved tubes. The idea of building these bars kind of mimics my whole process. You know, I didn't have a definite end to this. You know, I had a couple ideas, mainly that pullback, that sweeping bend coming off the headset, and then the top bar was really up in the air. It's really just put the pieces in place and see what looks and feels right. I think I could live with that. That's, I don't want it to be too curved because it's gonna look droopy, you know? That works for me. The base design of this was like a beach cruiser style, you know? They weren't like high ape hangers or super low drag bars. I just wanted a nice, comfortable, middle of the road seating position, you know, with your hands right around your shoulder height. Some people can sketch it out, but I just take the metal and bend it around and hold it in place and just see what seems right. This is kind of interesting. If I splice them together like that, that's pretty space aged. I had about 4 different ideas in 20 minutes, and something happened. I ended up with handlebars. This thing's getting close. It's looking like a trike. So I'm excited to have Kai check it out because now you get a real sense of what it's gonna be.
Ian called me up early today and told me to come over and check it out. He had done a few things to it. Whoa! What the hell?
Made a couple changes, sir.
No kidding. Man. What did you do to this thing?
Well, I started by just making a new frame.
This is not anything like I saw.
No, it was bent. Somebody crashed it. That's the problem. I put it on the table and measured it.
Really?
So that must have been why they took it apart, because that cheesy little frame, I have it over here, was full of lead.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, he got rid of the whole front end, the whole front part of the frame and created a whole new frame. The whole thing just looks nothing like I expected at all. This is crazy, man.
Crazy?
It doesn't look anything like I remember it.
See, this is what was there.
Yeah, right.
They filled it full of lead, but it was bent over like it got hit on the left side.
So that's why it was so heavy, huh?
Yeah, that's why
I was wondering about that.
But yeah, I just bent up some 1.5-inch tube, and I'm just working on the handlebars now.
Yeah, you didn't even use the ones that I had.
They were just too small, so I loved the general shape of them. But you know, I was trying with the nice curved frame. I was trying to get a nice curved bar. I think Kai was pretty quietly impressed.
I wouldn't mind riding this. Or at least try it out.
I think him walking in the door was the turning point. You know, he was all biased, had his own opinions. As soon as you walk in, you check it out, and you sit on the thing, I think he's gonna go for it. I think he's totally into this.
It's pretty amazing. But leave it to Ian, he comes up with this stuff, and I see total potential for this thing now. And personally, I can't wait to see it finished. I should have known.
Trying to get some floorboards made for this. I was thinking, this thing needs a little more weight in the front, and especially safety-wise. I was originally thinking like your feet would just hang down on some foot pegs, but seeing how light this thing is in the nose, I think putting a full tray, like a skid plate underneath that incorporates as a footrest too, pretty funky. That's what I'm looking for. I saw a really good design on Rich's trike where there was no hand throttle. Everything was controlled by your foot. I thought it looked really clean. I'm not gonna copy his design directly, but it's definitely the inspiration for this. Typical motorcycle arrangement, you have your throttle on your hand grip, your clutch on your left hand, and your brake, your front brake on your right. I'm gonna try to make these bars super clean by using all foot controls. I had these old excavation stakes, the big hunk of steel, but it had pretty neat, evenly drilled holes in it. So I just picked one hole, enlarged it to fit these tubes. I had the old shifter lever from the trike, so that fit as a sleeve. I'm gonna use it as a bearing on this center one. And I just drilled these out to fit, so they will actuate a little flipper lever. That's the brake side on your right foot. And then this is the clutch side on your left foot. So they look fairly symmetrical. The really trick thing in Rich's trike was that he had a foot gas pedal, which I thought was super cool because your hands are free to just hold on. So I took this 3/8 rod I bought, and that fits right through the tube on the brake pedal. So this will have a third component that will be some kind of a lever here that as you turn it, this will have the throttle pedal. So you'll have a gas pedal outside of here, independent of your brake. I wanted it as compact, lightweight, and cool looking as possible, and it's all old stuff. This component is going to be welded shut. It's a one-time deal, and the only way to test it is to put it on the bike. So, stepping on the clutch, oh yeah, it's totally easy. It works. Well, I'm pretty familiar with linkages from, everything, you name it, dune buggies to motorcycles. So this is a pretty straightforward concept, but since I'm building it myself, there's a million variables. I'm just working with what fits closest to this design in my head. So it's just like a bunch of scrap metal, put on the table and make some linkages. I was thinking about welding another lever to this shaft, similar to what I did here, but there's not a lot of pressure on the throttle assembly, so I think I could just bend this 90 degrees, just bend this rod straight up and then over. So I saw this trick on Volkswagens. They were using roller pedals on their race cars, and I've seen a couple other people use skateboard wheels. So I think it's time to retire this unit. My days of small board riding are over. I think the skateboard gas pedal is perfect. I'm gonna do the same with the brake and the clutch. Okay. It actually works. Next up, fuel tank. Thanks to Mr. Trikaruni up there, we got this cool stainless steel tank. And the only spot for it I can think of is here where the old one used to go. Basically gonna cut this thing in half. All right, so this thing's gonna go in the vehicle right about here. Glad that this works out. For me, the big concern at this point is just the body. It's in two pieces. I want it in one piece. All right, I really got this chassis dialed in. It went off on the rear end of it. I got everything buttoned up, cleaned, and painted. Gas tank's in, the transmission's resealed, the foot pedals are all hooked up. Last thing to do is get this body into one piece. Got my friend Jack, he's a great upholsterer. He gave me the tip on how to make some seat pans that would help him just move right through this. I'm gonna make a couple templates, cut steel to match, and just deliver them to Jack. The seats are in his hands, whatever he wants to do. He knows what I'm up to. Simple, typical template making. I've got my fiberglass body. I just make a cardboard template on it until it's the shape I'm happy with. It's easier to cut than metal. So you whittle down the cardboard to the final shape, transfer that shape to the metal, cut it and deliver it. You know, I don't think I could have made that any better myself. It's all right. The last part of the operation is this fiberglass repair. Without it, it would look like the body's in two pieces, and it's really just a cosmetic thing. Got all this fiberglass from 3M, and it's time to use it. It's a messy operation, but somebody's got to do it. The fiberglass thing is just a cosmetic deal. I've got plenty of body mounts in place. I just need a smooth surface that I can paint. So yeah, I'm just gonna lay this on, and then I'll cut back. Later, I'll cut back whatever I don't need, but at least it's in place. I like the process in that you can create these complex shapes pretty simply, but it's a stinky, itchy process. You know, it's hot weather, and it's kind of miserable. You know, I like the results, but the process is pretty gnarly. I got all this Elastirap product from Eastwood. It's pretty crazy stuff. It's a liquid rubber coating that you can spray with a paint gun. So it's a sprayable rubber coating that is either permanent, or if you prep the surface correctly, you can peel it off. I think it's gonna be perfect for this trike. I'm setting up a whole series of tape lines that are gonna accent these ridges in the body. I really like the last graphics that were on it, but these new ones I think are really gonna help out the design that whoever created this fiberglass shape. I think it's gonna really complement that. I sprayed the whole thing silver, and just like most of the work I do, I stared at it. Something you would see, you know, in the 60s or 70s before all these special candy paints and all the airbrushing fad got so developed. So that last line comes down like that, and that's there, and yeah, we got it. All right, it's the moment of truth. My big concern was that this stuff would all glue together. Oh, look at that. Perfect parting line. I was worried that it was gonna stretch and create rough edges. Quality control. Here he is. What do you think, man? You know, I'm pretty happy with this. It would have been easy to overdo it. So I spent a lot of effort to underdo it. I think it's paid off. Everything here is what I was thinking. The tones are right on. I think if I clear coat the whole thing with this really fine metal flake, it's just gonna give a little pop in the sunlight. And that's it. I think this is pretty classy. It's not overblown. It shows off the body lines. And it's full custom. I got the trike all squared away, got it registered, took it on the Shakedown run. The whole thing was figuring out how to ride this. You don't lean into it like a motorcycle. So before I got on the road, I took it out to the park, did a couple wheelies, a couple slides in the dirt just to see how it felt, how stable it was. And this thing tracks great. The whole thing is that this was purely inspired by other people. There was no check and balance like on other projects. So having the freedom to just do whatever I want, it's really cool. I drove it up here to Rich's in Fraser Park. I felt it was so important to bring it back here and show them, hey man, that you turned me in this direction, and here it is.
To see him come riding in the front driveway with it, it was fabulous.
Pulling up, I could see Rich's face, you know, he was excited.
That front end is terrific.
Those are the forks I got from you.
Look at that.
I made them. These are the shocks, the front rim I got from you.
I didn't know I was inspiring him that great. It was fabulous. It looked great. He did the shocks the way I had told him, and then he improved on them by doing the gooseneck the way he did. The hidden frame is marvelous. That's a great idea on that part. I could sell that idea every day of the week. That's a good unit.
The way I chopped the body back and the modifications I made, he was into it.
That's beautiful.
Well, thanks, man. That was the first time I ever put one of these
Congratulations.
together. Thanks.
You're a triker.
There we go. We've got a couple old school trikes, new school trike, and Kai has got a brand new Harley trike. He's got it from the factory, fresh, and he's bringing it up here today to roll out with us.
I do test rides for Easy Riders and for another magazine we have called Road Iron. And I happened to get a trike for the first time ever. And the trike is great. It's called a freewheeler. It's brand new for 2015.
Kai was a naysayer to the trike thing, and now here he is. He's driving 80 miles out on his new trike just to check out the scene. You know, it's a great day. We're gonna go for a cruise.
It was fun to watch the trike in action. It was just pieces and parts and, you know, garbage basically that I had sitting in my backyard for I don't know how long, and he made this out of it, and it's pretty wild.
What he's done to it is really great. I want to do something with him.
Rich has got projects all over the place. He's got dune buggies, he's got tractors, trailers, trikes, motorcycles. I got a bunch of crazy ideas. This is just the tip of the iceberg.